One of my favorite things to do living in Alaska is to fly my drone. And I love to just post photos on Facebook or Instagram, or take videos, put them in YouTube videos like these, or on Instagram as well, on shorts. I realized that you don't have to live in Alaska to take great drone photos. You just gotta be a little creative. Recently, I seen this type of photo roaming the internet, and I'm gonna show you how to capture it with your drone. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kris Luckenbach, and I'm a photographer and videographer here in beautiful Kodiak, Alaska. And I make videos like these for you guys to watch, and everything on my channel is related to Alaska. So let's get right into it. Now this technique is pretty new in the drone world, it seems, but it's not new to photography. It is a big thing that's been going on for a long time. Intentional camera movement is basically what we want to capture. So the first thing we're going to need for this is most likely a ND filter, unless you are flying super late, maybe like 20-30 minutes after sunset in the twilight time. But I got an ND8 on here because it's just about sunset right now, and this is a Mavic 3 Pro, so I can adjust the aperture. But on the mini series and the Air series for DJI, you're gonna most likely need a ND filter. The good news is, if you bought a Fly More kit from DJI, they seem to be including ND filters in all of their Fly More kits lately, which I think is an awesome, awesome thing for people to have. And I think every photographer needs one if you want to step outside your comfort zone and become more professional. If you're using a fixed aperture drone like an Air 3 or a Mini 4 or a Mini 3, you'll likely need a 256 ND filter, because if you're shooting in broad daylight, f1.7 is so bright. So I think a 256 or maybe even a 512 should work pretty good for that. The reason you'll need an ND filter is because this requires shooting a long exposure, 1-2 seconds, and we're gonna find out the best time to use right now. All right, well, I'm gonna get this drone just in the air right now. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna find the settings we're gonna need. I'm in photo mode and I use Pro, and you want to find a shutter speed. Let's just start with 1 second. Going the wrong way here. We'll start with a 1 second exposure. And right here, F11, 1 second seems to work pretty good. I like to shoot RAW because I get the best editing experience possible. If you don't edit your photos, just use JPEG, it'll be fine. But if you want to use Lightroom to edit them, you get so much more control using RAW. To make this work, you're gonna want to be closer to the ground, and you want your subject to be further away. So the background or the subject's gonna be further away. You want the foreground to be pretty close to the drone, a couple feet off the water. Since the waves are kind of big, I'm gonna be like right here. I think that should work pretty good. All I'm gonna do is try some things out. I'm gonna fly forwards, I'm gonna fly backwards, take photos along the way and see what works. So let's just test it right now and see what we can get. Let's just get a preview of that real quick. All right, that looks okay, not too bad. You can see the background is focused and sharp while the foreground is blurry. You wanna also have an eye on your drone while you're doing this, because the screen will freeze on you, so you might just get a little nervous and stop moving or move up or the wrong way or left or right or something. So keep an eye on your drone just so you know that it's not gonna crash, especially if you're doing it over water or something. I notice it's kind of hard to get straight flying for some reason for me. I don't know if I just must be moving it a little bit to the right. All right, let's fly straight forward here. Let's go here. I'm just gonna move the drone over the beach right now, and I'm just gonna take a look at some of these photos, see what it looks like. I think we got the settings right the first time. I think 1 second looks pretty good. When it gets a little bit darker, I'm gonna try 2 seconds to see what it looks like. I was really hoping for a nicer sunset, but I think we gotta take what we can get. And I'm just looking at some of these shots to see what looks the best, if the water's breaking right in the middle, off to the right a little bit. So, you know, you guys are the one behind the controller. You guys have full control over this. You guys be creative. You guys figure out what works best for you. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna watch the drone, but I'm gonna turn off the sensors. So we'll go to safety and we'll turn them off. I know you're flying straight backwards in what it seems to be level ground. Sometimes there's a slight elevation change, and even though the drone isn't raising, the ground slowly is raising into the drone. That's one thing you really have to be careful about flying around mountains and whatnot. And we'll just center this up right here, and we'll see if it fixes the issue where the drone just flies. Yeah, now it's nice and smooth. Before, the drone was just raising and lowering on its own. All right, that's forward. Let's try backwards. For these ones, I'm definitely keeping an eye just to make sure the drone's staying at a good level. I think that looks pretty good. Let's turn around again. And now it's a little bit darker. Let's see if we could do a full 2 seconds. Yep, nothing looks overexposed, so I think we're good. I'm gonna get to where I wanna be, and let's just fly backwards. Do the same thing. Let's see what 2 seconds looks like. An important thing to remember is keeping your movement in the same position. That's why I just hold the throttle or the forward stick just at maximum distance. I don't try to like go a little slow or whatnot. Just the more consistent you keep your movement, the smoother your shots are gonna be. It looked cool for a second, but the foreground's or the background and subject, like the mountain back here, is pretty blurry. Let's just see if another photo looked like that. Yeah. It's a little bit blurry, so I think one second is your best bet for this kind of thing. Let's try 1 second again, but in sport mode. So let's go to 1, and let's just put it in sport mode so it goes a little bit faster. And like I said, no obstacle avoidance, so you're gonna want to keep an eye on it. Let's just fly backwards and see what it looks like. With that extra speed, that's when you're really risking some more motion blur and everything, but I think it works. I think the best thing to do is just do it in normal mode and with 1 second exposure. I think that looks good. Or I also think if you do it over some grass, it might look pretty good. There's some grass up here. Let's try it real quick. So I'm just gonna fly straight back. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good actually, with the grass and the trees not really moving. So I hope you guys found this video interesting, and I hope you guys like Surfers Beach here in Kodiak. If you're gonna try this, definitely let me know, and I'm excited to see what you guys can do. Let me know if you guys have any issues, if you guys found settings that work better for you. I found for this particular scene tonight, 1 second works really good. You wanna keep your ISO at 100. With smaller sensors and drones, the lower you can get your ISO, the cleaner the image is gonna be. The aperture is gonna be whatever you can get it to be. If you have a pro drone, you can adjust it. If you have a mini or an air, you are stuck with it. So that will heavily depend on your shutter speed and your ND filter. You know, you don't have to do these moving, panning shots with motion blur. I think if you just do regular drone in the air, just staying in one spot with long exposure, if you're at a beach, river, waterfall, if you live in a city with traffic, I really recommend trying long exposure drone photography. It will change your mind when it comes to flying your drone more often. You'll see things that are like, whoa, that looks really cool. If I did it in long exposure, let's get the drone out and try it out. I hope it inspires you to do something new. If you want to take your photography and videography with your drone to the next level, try doing hyperlapses. I have a whole hyperlapse tutorial right here. You can include long exposures in your photos, and it looks really, really cool. Check that video out. That's all I got for you guys. Like the video if you liked the video and found it interesting or useful. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of Alaska and drone stuff and whatnot, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.